Hey guys, welcome to, I'm going to call this episode 185, but it's going to be a short episode and it's going to be a pre-Vlogmas episode. I wasn't going to record this week because Vlogmas is on Thursday, but I have a lot of things I wanted to wrap up before Vlogmas starts because I will be showing things as I'm going. Oh, okay. But I figured I might as well get some of the older stuff out of the way, and then as the stuff is current, then we will show it on Vlogmas. Andrea from the future again, because I just get on a roll and I totally forget everything. So my name is Andrea the Cat Lady, 2T, C-A-T-T, which stands for Craft All the Things. This is episode 185. You can find me on social media as the Cat Lady, on Instagram, Facebook, Ravelry. I have a Discord channel. I have a coffee account to donate. I'm going to do a make-along this coming January that I will pull my funding from the coffee account and put that towards prizes. If you are new, thank you for checking me out. I hope you enjoy the fiber-related content. It's knitting, spinning, crocheting, sock machine, all sorts of things. If you are returning, thank you so much for returning and watching again and again. And like I said, this is the final episode before Vlogmas, which will be a daily series of Christmassy holiday stuff mixed in with crafty stuff and just daily vlogs. I have advent calendars, I have wine calendar, chocolate calendar, lotto calendar, all the calendars. So just wanted to pop in and say that. Continue. So, my sock saga is on a high point right now. I can't remember what socks I've shown you anymore, so I'm going to just go through all of the latest socks. So, this was the pair I started for Jim that didn't fit and fit me, so this ended up being my pair, and this is the one where the one sock is a little too big, and the one is normal, and this is my pair. I still haven't 100% figured out. I think it's fine. I really think it's fine. So I think I'm just gonna be fine with those. This is Active yarn. It's super yarn, so it's a German yarn. Let's see if I can get the super yarn Active 400 gram cone superwash. It's all in German. It's just superwash, 75% superwash, 25% polyamide. And this is the Iceland color. I don't even think the color's on here. Yeah, she put it in there. I got it from csmsupplies.com, which next time I order, I might order a bulk order from Supergarn, but it's a lot for shipping. But if you buy a lot, then it makes it worthwhile. So that is the Iceland color. And a lot of their colors are either ombre fades or these fun faux Fair Isle, which I think works out really nice for not having to do contrast heels and toes, because there's so many just varying little stripes and big stripes that even if you stop at a weird spot, even though I've been trying to not, and I've been pretty successful, it doesn't look weird. So I might have stopped at one line of blue here, but if it's only there was only 2 lines of blue, so it's it doesn't look awkward as in this sock does with the one weird line. So that is the Active Supergarn in Iceland, and I have made a pair for Jim and they fit, so he has a matching pair. So what happened is I made my pair his pair. The last episode I tossed his in the corner and said I'm done. I started a second pair for him and I made the first sock, and honestly it matched the good sock of the last pair. So he kept the first old sock and then the second first sock. And they seem to be fine. There might be a little bit of a difference in the cuff, but they're fine. So here's the other sock I pulled out. So I have 30 grams of random that I'll probably make ornaments or a bonnet or whatever. So maybe both. Maybe I'll make an ornament and a bonnet. So, and if you don't know what a bonnet is, it's one of these. Which I made a new bonnet as well. This is a cast on bonnet. So you hook these little things on the machine and then put in your waste yarn and then you put your weight on this. So that kit helps you, that starts your projects. And then, but this is Felici. This was left over from another pair of socks, which think that sock, did I keep that sock? I can't remember. So I made these socks. These socks either went to David or I kept them. Or I think I gave them to David. Like I measured the sock after, like I had it in my room or whatever, and it's like fits David's foot. And then he had a pair of Felici Christmas socks that I hand knit like a couple years ago. They fit David's foot too because they made them so small. I was terrible at making socks for Jim. I've been terrible at hand knitting and cranking socks for Jim. Hopefully until now. So he's got a pair of the Iceland. I have a pair of the Iceland. I then made, I don't know what order these are in, but I then made a pair of rolled top socks. And I showed you this too because I was going to rip it out because it wasn't the right size. So I finished my rolled top socks. I think these are the right size now. They just came off the drying rack. Where's my tape measure? I don't know. I don't have it handy. There it is. So the bottom of the foot for my socks seems to average at 9 inches. Or yeah, I think that's right. Yes. So it's a little over 9 inches, or it's about 9 inches exactly. My foot length is 10.5. So that gives me 1.5 inches of ease to stretch. So it's perfect for me. Jim's socks seem to be good at 10 inches. His foot is 10.75 inches. So that's like 3/4 of an inch of negative ease plus the accommodations for the width. Maybe it could be a little bit more, honestly, but he said it fit good. So going with it. So I followed the same recipe for the Iceland socks and made him a pair of Christmas socks. And he says they fit really good. And honestly, as long as they fit good right when you put them on, and they've already been washed and dried in the dryer on high heat, so this thing is like where it's going to be, right? Ideally, it shouldn't shrink anymore. And he says it fits good now. And once you wear a sock, it loosens throughout the day. So like it gets a little bit loosey-goosey, I feel like, just the nature of hand knit socks. So as long as it's like snug right when he puts it on, I feel like it should be fine. I don't think it would fit him if it was any smaller. I'm using the absolute tightest tension I can get for this yarn on the machine. Like it's probably should be loosened a little bit, but I'm going with it. And now here's the interesting story. I'm getting 12 stitches, 12 rows per inch. That's kind of what you focus on when you're doing it on the machine, especially. You don't really worry about the stitches per inch because it's 60. It is what it is. But the rows per inch is important for cranking enough rows with length. So I'm getting 12 after washing it and drying it in the dryer. I'm getting about 11.5 on mine. Oh, I made a pair for me. So there's his. I love this yarn. This is another Super Garn Active in the Kringle colorway, but look how pretty those are. I love them. I love them. I absolutely love them. So these are my socks. I'm getting 11.5 inches per row because I didn't put them in the dryer. I don't dry my socks. I wash in the washing machine, which I didn't. I wash these by hand, but I don't think that matters. I wash on delicate and I hang dry on a rack. That's what I do with all my socks. I feel like they last longer. I just like them better that way. But Jim is a very simple, throw everything in the wash, throw everything in the dryer guy. So his socks are no different. Hence why they always shrink and get too small and they never fit. But these have been washed and dried and they are measuring at, they should be measuring at 10 inches, which I believe is what I checked it already, but I'll check it one more time. 10 inches. So we're good. So that's Jim's socks. That's my socks. And this is just a hung hem. I'm not giving up on the river, but I'm not working on the river right now. I'm just focusing on these. These are fine. And then I just made David a sock. So his right now is measuring at a 10.5. What did I say? I said 11. Oh, 11. So this has been off the machine, kind of resting for a little bit, not washed, nothing. It's measuring 11 stitches per inch. So this is why this is a lot of problems. And that's why a lot of people say you're supposed to wash and dry your thing as you would. So, and this is measuring, but I figure if I calculate the exact size of the foot at 11, then that means giving any width or shrinkage after washing should fit the recipient. So this is measuring right now at 8.5 roughly, and his foot length total after his foot is currently 8 points. His foot's about 9 inches, right? His is about 8.75. Yeah, David's foot's 8.75 roughly. So if it shrinks to 8, which is what Jim's old socks were, And they still look a little baggy because I think they're a little long. So this is measuring 8 and almost 8.5, which is perfect. So when it shrinks up to about 8 after I wash it and dry it, I'll dry his because again, his laundry just goes all in the wash, all in the dryer. So then I only made one though. I gotta make the other one. But it's interesting because it's interesting the difference of gauge between hand wash, dry, wash, or hand dry, or air dry, dryer dry, and then right off the machine. So this is a huge learning curve. And this bonnet I made almost kind of intentionally because this is Felici. It's set on the same settings that machine's on right now, so I'm not going to touch the machine, hopefully. God. I do have another thing of Manos, which I did the roll top socks in, that I want to make another pair of roll top socks. But I know the gauge was different, so I might just do another tube first, look at it, and figure it out. But yeah, I don't know, because I feel like this yarn is a little thinner than the others, but whatever. But this washed and dried with one of the other socks, and this is getting 12 rows per inch. So when I do Felici socks for Jim, I mean, and for me probably, I mean, I'll probably just, now if I throw these in the dryer one time and they shrink up and then I continue to hand wash and air dry, they should maintain the shrinkage. So I don't know how that works. So like the yarn blooms and sets and whatever, but is it like permanent? I mean, like if I took it and steamed it and blocked it, I'm sure I could stretch it back out. So, but I couldn't. I haven't tried these on officially yet, but measuring them, they should be fine. So I don't know. It's such a weird experimental process, but like once I get, like I really like the iActive yarn. I really like Felici. And then, of course, my own hand-dyed yarns I'd like to get a handle on. But other than that, like most of my fancy yarns, I mean, I will probably want to make socks with some of it, but I don't know. I like the Felici. I like the Active. I like that. So those are going to be my primary yarns for socks going forward. But, yeah, there are ones over there that I want to make socks. But maybe I want to hand knit socks. I don't know. I hate hand knitting socks at this point, but maybe I'll want to. Okay, and you've seen these. So I had my heel tab and my Felici. So yes, so I think we're caught up on socks. So that's a lot of socks I've made. So I'm very excited about all the socks I've made, plus Jim's pair, plus a couple pair, plus Jim's old pair that David has, plus another pair. No, I think just the one pair. And I have everything written down in my little notebook. So let's see, I made Jim, Felici. Okay, those were last year. Those were last year's socks. David, I still have a pair of socks I need to rip out and try again. I was going to hand knit the toe on them, but I didn't. Yeah, I never made myself socks last year. I just made David and Jim, and they both didn't fit, so I got angry and stopped. So then I made my Felici. I made Jim the Felici. I wrote notes to make myself another pair of Felici, but I never did make them. So that's the yarn that's wound up down there, so I need to do that. Then I made Jim's Active yarn that turned into mine, my heel tab socks, then Jim's Active Iceland, my rolled top. Redo the Iceland, got those Christmas. So all my socks are in here. I just have general, I had more notes at the beginning. I just have general notes here. I do need like a, I don't know how to like remember where the tension is on the machine. Like I have a little measurement thing, but I feel like it's not super accurate. Like it's like a little caliper thing that I don't feel like it's doing a good job, and I don't know exactly where to measure. And you can click the spring and stuff, and now I'm afraid to touch it until I'm done making socks for Jim for a little bit. So I'm gonna try another Felici pair for him, and then I don't know, go from there, I guess. So next up with something you have not seen and I forgot to talk about, and let me see, I need to grab one thing. It's all the way at the bottom here. So I was part of an experiment with Angie the Knitress, who is also known as the Naughty Knitress. So the Naughty Knitress. So she did an experimental project called Just Add Color. Please go to her YouTube channel to check it out because it was really cool. She gathered like, I don't know how many dyers there were total, maybe like 15, 20 dyers maybe. I don't know if it was that many or not, but She had a whole series of indie dyers. She gave us all a prompt of colors. Like, so the colors that she said to use were purple, green, and gray. And specifically, which you didn't have to, but she used Dharma colors, which I use. Silver gray, Kelly green, and lilac. Those were the 3 colors. And we were going to send her a skein of yarn, dyed however we wanted. And then she would crank a tube on her sock machine. I can't remember what cylinder. I want to say it was a 60 cylinder, but I need to double check and verify. She would crank a tube with half the yarn and then a hat with the other half of the yarn, which if you set up your ribber and you set it up, it's called half pitch. I think I've talked about this before. You can use all, it would be 120 needles for the 60 and crank out a stretchy ribbed hat, like a 1x1 ribbed. And like this hat's like 120. So like, it's like a hat that fits a human head, an adult head. So I sent her my skein, and again, go to her channel and you can see everybody's skein, but I made 2, so I kept 1. So, and I called this Lilacs in the Storm. So this was my skein. And so what it is, I don't really want to unfold it, but I had like a splotch of purple, a little splotch of green, and then a splotch of purple, and then speckles everywhere else. It did not turn out exactly the way I intended. It got a little too green, but it was nice. So that is the skein that I sent her, roughly. That was the second one in the pot. And then she cranked the tube, and I got this. So this is how that yarn turned out. It's almost kind of stripy, with then the speckles in there, so it's really cool. So now I have a big tube that potentially I could cut in half and make 2 socks with hand knitting my heels, toes, cuffs. So that's potentially what I'll do. I don't know. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it yet, but I have a tube. And it's a pretty big tube. I mean, that's a pretty big sock. So, you know, well, I guess that's, I mean, because I don't know, I have to fold it in half or fold it like, so it's a smaller or whatever. But anyways, so I got a tube, and then she made the hat, and the hat looks kind of funny off the just straight out because it looks so small. But look, it's like spirally. You can stretch it because it's very stretchy. Let's see if I can put it on. My hair is a mess today anyways. So let's see. So can wear it kind of slouchy, but honestly I like it better. Ooh, with the brim. That's kind of like slouchy with the brim. It's a big hat. So yeah, it's kind of like a slouchy with a rolled brim. So that's the hat. And she had a little mannequin head. She put them all on so you could see it. So it's kind of fun. I want to make hats on the machine. I think that'd be fun. So put this back on. And then she sent a little bag that I already showed you, a little tote bag. This was, she had everything. And then it was like a little postcard. Thank you for joining. She gave me a coupon code for her shop. I got a sticker. Just to add color. She wants to do this again next year. She wants to make this a yearly thing. So there's the 2022. Got a button. And then we got a little stitch marker magnet, or yeah, magnet progress keeper, I guess. And a little tape measure, which I love tape measures. So that was cool. So again, I will link her channel below. But she is Andy the Knittress, the Naughty Knittress. She has a website. Her husband is Hearing Color Dye Works, who sells hand-dyed yarn. So they are just she sells, she sells notions and stuff, I think, and all sorts of fun stuff. And she cranks out socks and she does little shows and stuff. So that's that. So I had forgotten about that. But I just got that in the mail yesterday. So I got my stuff back, but I forgot to tell you I was doing that. So, because at first it was like a secret and you weren't supposed to say anything. So, all right. So that's it for today. This might be it. I'm going to just like sit on this for another day and, oh, I lied. Lastly, I finished my C. So I have one C. I need to finish the second one. So this is a knitted knocker C size in the Line brand Kobu. So I want to make one more, and then I keep saying I'm going to retire those, but I do have a bunch of robotics things coming up, so I'm probably going to bring them because that's an easy thing to sit down and work on. So So lots of socks and more socks to come. So I got to crank David's second sock. And then Emily, I don't know yet. She's not a huge sock wearer. I might see if she wants me to make her a pair of these heel tabs in the Christmas color. So then she'll have Christmas socks, but they're just shorty socks. She doesn't like tall socks. So I'll ask her if she wants a pair of shorty socks in the Christmas colors. Yeah, this cone is amazing. So like I have a ton left. So I've made technically I made 3 pairs of socks. I took the one out, so I made two and a half pairs of socks, and I still have all this yarn left of that one. So I've made 2 and a half pairs of socks, and I still have a ton left. So I think one pair of sock ended up being like 60 something grams for Jim's. I haven't weighed mine, so that was 400 grams. So it's really cool. I enjoy using that yarn. So I should make myself my Felici one since it's already on the cone, and I need to make my roll top out of this. And I want to make Jim another Felici just to test out my new system here. So, and then what did I want to do? I wanted to do something else. I do need to make more ornaments. I don't know. So anyways, I'm going to stop recording right now, and I will be back with a closing. And I didn't even do an introduction or anything, so I might have to like stop and record an introduction. Then do a closing and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I'll see you in the next clip. Hey guys, it is Wednesday. It is Vlogmas Eve. It's the day before Vlogmas, and Sadie's rubbing my foot. It is November 30th, 2022. Another year is coming to an end. This is wild, 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 wild. So, just a few wrap-ups before we start the whole vlog thing. As you saw in the last clip, I was working on David's socks. Now I have socks. They've been washed, they've been dried, they've been put on his foot briefly. Says it fits. Looks like it fits. You know, we never know until like they wear it. Like wear it. So, but I think we're good. And I feel like I could probably steam them out a little if I wanted to make them bigger. Like I could put them on the blockers that I'm hanging on my rack and steam them. So like I feel like if they need to be a little bigger, I can achieve that. It's smaller that we can't achieve. But for David, he'll grow into it. So, but I think we're good. I forgot to show you this yesterday. I picked up a new gadget. So it is a light. So when I was, it goes 3 brightnesses and off. Each one, you can do one at a time. And then it's got a temperature. So we got, so we got like a cooler light, a warm light, and there's 3 settings. I don't know. So I like that one. Yeah, so when I was working on kitchening the toes of my socks off my machine, I was sitting in the family room and we were watching a movie, and it was really dark and kind of hard to see. So I'm like, I really need one of these. And, you know, it's good for book reading and stuff, but it was relatively inexpensive on Amazon. It's pink. I like pink. So it's my knitting light. So I'm pretty excited about that. And I can probably use it in the car. I don't know. I don't want it to be distracting to Jim, but I figured it's already come in handy, because even just kitchening, even in normal lighting, it's sometimes hard to see those stitches. So that is it. And that is all I have currently. Oh, I don't have it. If you are a longtime viewer, you are aware of kitties, number 1. And you are aware that kitties used to have sweaters. Well, David found all their sweaters, and what they are is they're little tubes I knit on my Addy Express, the Addy Pro, the smaller one. I don't have any kitties with me. But David had 2 other kitties that he had gotten for Christmas last year, maybe? I don't remember, but they needed sweaters. So I made 2 kitty sweaters yesterday. It had been a while since I made a kitty sweater, but really all it was is a tube, 20 row tube. I like folded in half. But I don't remember if you've seen the duck. The duck needs a sweater. I don't know if you've seen the duck. So stay tuned for Vlogmas, because the ducks, there's 2 of them. I got one for my birthday, so I want to say I showed off my duck on my birthday. The ducks are going to get Christmas sweaters. It's going to be really cute. So I will save that content for Vlogmas because they're not ready yet. And so I might get to them today. So we can show off duck sweaters tomorrow on December 1st. And I'm way too excited about this. I shouldn't be so excited about duck sweaters, but I am excited about duck Christmas sweaters. So with that, so a little bit shorter episode this week, but not much. I talked a lot yesterday. I wish everyone a wonderful week. I will see you tomorrow and every day after that for the next 25 days at least. Sometimes I go through New Year's. We'll see. I don't know. I don't have any like New Year opening things. So at the moment, one year I had a New Year's wine, which was very uneventful actually. So I need to get all my calendars ready. I have picked up my lottery calendar from my friend yesterday. So we did our swap and I got my yarn calendars. I ordered a tea calendar, David's Tea, because it was on sale for 25 bucks. Shipped to me, out the door, $30. I was like a bargain, because usually it's like $60. I think it's $55, and then, whatever shipping is. So it was like half off. Sadie, what are you doing? So I was super excited, but it's delayed. So it's not going to be here by tomorrow. I'm a little disappointed on that, but it was super cheap. And the last time I did the David's Tea calendar, I did it in like January because I bought it after. I don't want to pay $60 for tea calendar. I just can't. But I can do 20. I can do 30. So it was $25. So discount shipping. Don't count shipping in the cost. It was $25. So it was like $1 a day for 2 servings of tea because you get the little packets. And they might be coming in little. If they're coming in little tins, then I'm gonna be super pumped because you can use those for notions and stuff. So the last time they just came in little pouches and I had to like tear them open and save them and whatever. But if they come in tins, I'm going to be super pumped. It looked like they might, but I don't know. So stay tuned for potential tea. I might have to like double up on my tea consumption or extend it through New Year. So I have 2 yarns, tea, lottery, something else. Wine? Did I say wine? I don't know. Anyways, if you like Vlogmas and you like daily BS, because that's what it is, daily BS, please continue to watch daily, and I will continue to show my crafty things as well as other BS. So, I'm rambling as I do. I appreciate everybody. I hope everyone has a wonderful week. I hope everyone gets to craft all the things. See you later.